I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Limbonic ART-Solace of the Shadows for the big homie. Daniel. I think we've done like 2 or 3 Limbonic art songs. With all. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori, where you can see the latest member of our commentary crew. The great
He's a very
DL,
good addition.
The great DL Beluga.
I guarantee it will sweeten your experience.
It's for all the ladies. It's all the ladies to sweeten up the pot, give you guys something to look at. So there you go.
Not you older ladies, though.
Yeah.
He's young.
Kid's 15 years old, for God's sake. Well, he's actually 14. He's going to be 15 on Tuesday, inshallah. Okay, so check it out. Middle America, Vin and Sori. Now, there are multiple ways to get your song reviewed. What he selected was the Fast Pass option. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line, where you get to decide what song we do and what video or version of the song that we watch. Now, the big homie has done this 3 times, so he gets pushed down to the $75 rate. He pays $75, everybody else pays $125, but if you do that 3 times, you get pushed down to the $75 rate. Okay, now if you want the community option, which is my favorite option, $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon, you join an alliance, and you pull your points together, and that also determines what song we use. Having said that, we're going to listen to some Limbonic ART-Solace of the Shadows. Let's go. Turn it up, turn it up.
I require the Solace of the Shadows, so that I can be redeemed. After wings of darkness, whispers my name. A kiss of death I receive. Love's an orange shadow to thy heart I yield. Within the candlelight, eruption is sealed. I stand in skies for evoking ceremony. In the twilight sounds arise of the galaxy.
Love that tremolo picking, bro.
The marching eye of wheels, the blackened skies, a new horizon begins. To each one that dies.
that had a nice middle. You and I both reached for our turn it up. We both started turning it up at the same time.
Yeah, I really, 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 really loved that middle because it was tremolo, 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 kind of epic, almost black metal-y, and then it got like very raw, drag your knuckles on the ground. I just love that stuff.
It sounded like there was an organ in it or something.
Yeah,
it sounded like a organ. Yeah,
I just assumed that they synthesized that.
Yeah, I mean, probably did.
I don't think they have an organist, but I'm sure that if you went and saw these guys live, you'd see a keyboard for sure.
Yeah.
But the more and more you listen to stuff, and the better you get at music, like the more you know how to like manipulate energy. So like you're going along, and then boom, all of a sudden there's like a complete, tempo change, rhythm change, technique change, and it just wakes up the person listening to it. And I just love that stuff. And like it's easier said than done.
Oh my gosh.
Because sometimes like it doesn't work. Like like in our band or whatever, like, there's always like a running debate between me and the drummer about, well, this is too much of a rhythm change, I want more transitions, and I'm like, nope, we're going, obviously it's my song, his song, he can, and he's like, this is what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, no sweat, like, I don't have a problem with it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's very, 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 very difficult to do and very difficult to pull it off. And in my opinion, in this particular situation, they pulled it off swimmingly. Swimmingly. Which is weird, because usually, like, I was struggling to, like, stay focused on the lyrics because, like, sonically it was, like... And again, it was, like, a minute and a half, 2 minutes of, like, okay,
Yeah,
I see where this is going, and then it got heavy. It's just... I'm always going to be partial to tremolo picking in heavy music. So, like, when we did our song, like, there's a pretty extended tremolo section, but there's also that general just raw type. I was listening to a lot of Lamb of God at the time. Like, I just think, like, in the modern day, like, there's nobody that's like Dime. Like, forget it. Dime is in a separate. Yeah. But, like, the type of heavy that Lamb of God has, like, I love that shit. I just love it. It's like, yes.
Satisfying.
Very satisfying. So anyway, that song is coming out soon, dear listener, inshallah. But we've got like 4 or 5 songs that we need to shoot videos for.
Yeah.
The Akhenaten joint, the
Isaac one.
Isaac, the Isabel joint. That's 3. There's another one I'm not thinking about.
I have one. That Fear one that I did.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We might come out with a whole mixtape. We might come out with records. There's going to be some hip-hop. There's going to be some rap.
Yeah.
Oh, I just recently finished a rap song. I don't know if we're going to...
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know. Maybe I'll put some editorials in it. And
I feel like that's like one of the ones that you like... It's like a hidden track.
Yeah, you had to listen to the CD for...
remember that?
I think the $15 patrons, like the folks who've been $15 patrons, we need to...
15 and above.
Yeah, we need to give them some love. So that's coming up. But just keep in mind, $15 patrons, your brother was angry when I wrote this song. And you have to understand where I am, right? We're in Maine. So just keep that in mind. Don't be too sensitive. But,
I thought you were talking about the one you just wrote.
Yeah, the one I just wrote, yeah.
Were you laughing?
Yeah, that one.
Oh.
That one.
Okay. Anyway,
back to our regularly scheduled
lyrics.
program. Yeah.
So, it's funny because, like, this person, are they talking about, like, they're going to be involved in some ritual that someone else is doing and they're trying to save the night?
Well,
like
he starts off saying that he finds solace in
yeah.
So that's his big thing.
Well, I think that sometimes, like, the night can be like a place of solace. I think that there's 2 different ways of doing that. One is that the night is just, it's kind of like a calm, a chill spot for you. Like, everything is stopping and you can still be awake, but the rest of the world is sleeping, rest of the world. But then I think that there's another type of, like, kind of embracing the dark where it's not healthy. You know what I mean? Like, it's the being super, super depressed and intentionally putting on more depressing music to kind of envelop yourself in that depression. And at the moment it feels good, but in the like long grand scheme of things, it's not a very helpful thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, you know, people talk about insomnia. They say I'm suffering from insomnia. Like, I don't suffer from insomnia unless I have to wake up early. Like, I enjoy my insomnia. Like, I enjoy having, like, extended hours of, like, quiet and contemplation, or being able to read, or being able to listen to an audiobook, or being able to listen to my favorite music and getting lost in that world by myself. Or, you know, something's like a loose end at work. I enjoy being able to jump in and like get ahead of everybody at work. Like if I'm sending out emails at 3 or 4, sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning, like people are like, what the hell, man? When does this guy ever sleep? But like, so I don't really suffer from, you know, last Friday was pretty rough because I had
You had to get up super early.
Yeah, we had a deal that needed to be closed.
I don't know what time you go to bed, but I usually wake up multiple times a night because I'm so uncomfortable. And I woke up at 5:30, and you're usually still awake at 5:30.
Yeah. So, but we had like multiple deal that we had a pretty, you know, a deal that needed to be closed. It kind of dropped in our lap at the last second, so I had to be up at that time to help close that thing. So, you know, I enjoy nighttime, and I cannot stand when I see the first sort of rays of light peeking out of the window. Like, I can't stand it at all. But it's weird because, like, especially when it's fall, like, I love being outside and seeing like the nature and all that jazz. And like, we went for a family walk yesterday. We were turning the corner, and the sailor was like, yo, it's so dark so early now. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. So I don't like it. Like, when I'm outside and like looking at nature and all that, and you get that little, you know, I have like a little, like, I actually really love the fall in Maine.
You know what's funny is you are not the type of person to, or at least not from what I've seen, you don't proactively go outside, but once you're out there, you seem to enjoy it. But
yeah, no, I agree. So I have a weird relationship with all that.
Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily think he's just talking about the darkness of the night. The desolation makes me feel so dark, so cold. The silence, so dark, so cold. The emptiness,
right.
Solace of the shadows, like, and he's talking about.
He's talking about metaphysical darkness.
Yeah. I set the stones for invoking ceremonies in the twilight zone. Arise, abstract galaxies. The magic eye. I don't know what the magic eye is. Unveils the blackened skies.
Maybe he's talking, you know, the third eye, or, you know, Joe Rogan would say the pineal gland when you're doing the DMT stuff. So, you know, it's maybe he's using these ceremonies or whatever in a sort of a drug type ritual that, you know, because when you hear people describe their experiences on DMT, like, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, so no, I agree. I think he's talking about actual, like, metaphysical darkness, you know, and using night or whatever as you know, the corollary between that and the stuff that he's into.
The stage also.
Because I'm not into depression. Like, I don't think that I don't enjoy depression, but I do enjoy like a lot of like solitude and quiet time alone. But those aren't the same thing. You know, like there's a monastic tradition in pretty much every religious sort of, especially the majors. There's a monastic tradition everywhere where people kind of, you know, separate themselves from other people so that they can have quiet and time to think and all that. And there's a lot of stuff going on in my head at, you know, a million miles an hour. So that's why I enjoy it. But if you're enjoying darkness because the darkness, the cold, bad spiritual energy, dark intelligences, that type of shit, obviously as a Christian, that's not something I would recommend. You know, because that's misery. But sometimes people are so caught up in dark misery that they end up liking it as a form of surrendering to it, right? Like, I can't. It's like if you can't beat them, join them type mentality. Where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, reacclimate myself to liking this sort of, whatever. So like when he talks about the silent cold and emptiness, like that's almost universally looked upon as bad, especially if you're talking about like metaphysical emptiness.
Yeah.
It's usually looked upon as being bad. If you tell somebody you're just an empty suit, like in certain, like that's like the ultimate insult. You know what I'm saying? Or if a singer says, I'm empty inside, that's usually a cry for help. So here it looks like he's like acclimated himself to the reality of it, the darkness and the emptiness and the cold. And I think that that's more of a surrender than it is like, oh, I really enjoy that
Really?
state of being. Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it seems like he likes it and he wants it, which is why he's going into it. Like,
Yeah, I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying, why does he like it? Why does he like emptiness, cold, and all that jazz? Like, for example, when I'm in the dark, or like when I'm up at night, like I don't describe it as dark and silent and empty, or cold and empty.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a time for contemplation. It's a time for exploration. It's a time where I can focus on something like, unmolested. I can look at something for an hour and a half and look at all the different angles, or read what somebody says, or look at it and study and be like, okay, like I'm not embracing my insomnia because I love cold and darkness and emptiness and all the rest of it. So my whole thing is like, there's no question he likes it.
Yeah.
He likes the blackened skies. He likes the emptiness. To me, though, it's why. And to me, this just looks like it's a person who doesn't think that he can overcome it.
oh, I agree.
So if you can't overcome it and it's going to keep happening, you gotta at least kind of reorient your mind into saying, oh, I really love this, because it's going to be your lot in life, and that's kind of like a defense mechanism to stay alive. I mean,
Yeah, I think that when he's talking about it, it's interesting because in one sense it sounds like he enjoys it and he wants it. But then in another instance, it's like, okay, so it says, it captures my heart, which usually if something captures your heart, that's a good thing. It's a positive thing. As the purgatory sears, I cast now the spell as I cross the raging flames into darkness, cursing names. Like, it doesn't sound like...
it's not like he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, it sounds like, oh, that's not. And right before that, darkness holds the secrets of man's fears. What do you think about that sentence?
Well, I think it's true
phrase.
because it's the unknown. And the vast majority of the things that we're scared of are the unknown. And so darkness, by definition, puts us in a situation where we're in a perpetual unknown. And that's why people are afraid of it. They're not afraid of the substance of what darkness is. They're afraid of what darkness conceals.
Yeah.
That's the problem with darkness for a lot of us. So, yeah, I think that was a very, very, very powerful line. Very powerful line. And again, he talks about the nocturnal enchanter, to thy art I yield. And, with the candlelight a rapture is now revealed. So like
I didn't understand what rapture meant in this.
Rapture, well, the most common usage of the term rapture is like to be caught up in an ecstasy.
Yeah.
To be like almost like out of body.
You think that's what he means there?
Out of body ecstasy. Yeah, I think he's having a little spiritual moment, and boom, he's and people can believe or disbelieve what they want. I mean, everybody has different worldviews, but I definitely believe that if you're the type of person that embraces spiritual, metaphysical darkness, like there is a personification of darkness. We call them dark intelligences, whatever you want to call them. I believe that you can get caught in those cycles, and it can affect a lot of things about your life.
Yep.
So I just think that that's a real thing, and obviously we're gonna say we've seen that happen to people, and we've seen it happen to some of these guys. There is one particular guy I'm thinking of, and he basically blew himself away. Playing around with this stuff. So it is what it is. What do you give the song?
9.1.
The 9.7 for me. I really, really enjoyed the song. Love the middle part. I think they timed it perfectly. This is one of those songs that makes me want to go pick up my guitar and go after it. Like, it's one of those songs. Really, really good song. Who suggested this one?
Daniel.
Shout out to the big homie Daniel. Good job, bro. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
I